Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time, 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Song of cheer again. Happy days are here again.
Well, we have an exclusive. We have the Speaker of the City Council, Julie Menon, is going to be calling in a few minutes. And I'm hoping for happy days are here again. Me and the Judge Weinberg are here. Ed Cox is here. And we're going to talk to her about what do you tell the people that are thinking of Exodus? And we're going to ask her, what do you think of having Judge? What else are we going to ask her?
I think the important thing is what her vision is and how she's going to bring the city together. And the reason we played Happy Days Are Here again is because I think she's a voice of optimism. And she'll
the voice of common sense. And
it's a voice of common sense, particularly when you got a radical socialist mayor who is just making appointments that don't make any sense at all.
You know what it is? And look, she's a guest on our show. I'm not going to go deeply into the mayor. I think we give her a chance because there's going to be three different checks and balances in our city. It's you have Governor Hochul. You have Julie Menon being the Madam Speaker of the City Council, and you have Donald Trump, who loves New York City and wants to have New York City going in the right direction. And there's more talk at the White House now that they don't mind giving money to New York, but they need their own checks and balances so they don't send them federal money, billions and billions, and they're spent the wrong way.
And listen, you have to have real controls, real audits. We have to know who you're giving the money to and how it's being spent.
Now, there's some other, before Julie Menon calls, there was some other breaking news today. It looks like there's information going around that the director of, what's her title? Director of Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard?
Right.
What is her title, Ed Cox?
DNI, that's it.
Director of National Intelligence was specifically left out of some of the meetings. Now, this is not verified. It's being reported from a lot of sources, but they did not want, there was zero leaks in Venezuela. So,
wow.
They were, I mean, think of that. Wow.
The head of DNI may be leaking on this subject.
I hope it's not true, but there's information going around like that right now, and we'll know about it. The other breaking news was Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania announces re-electing for governor.
That's right. And then you have the Greenland situation where they want to have negotiations.
Greenland. I want to talk more about it. Maybe tomorrow, on Friday, we talk more about Greenland. I still will have a contest of what are we going to name the water in between Greenland and Canada. Would it be the Gulf of North America? I don't know.
That's already named.
That's not. No, but we're going to change the name. Trump always changes the name. The other big thing, the other breaking news, maybe John Solomon's coming on. He's going to talk about it. Kash Patel has started a major investigation of who is funding these protesters on ICE. And is the phone ringing? We got Julie Menon calling in. Well, we have a new speaker for the city council in the city of New York, and her name is Julie Menon. And she is one very qualified lady. And Judge Weinberg is sitting here with me. And Judge, tell us how qualified.
I think we have an extraordinary person, and congratulations on your great victory, Madam Speaker. Julie was the Commissioner of New York City Department of Consumer Affairs, the Commissioner of Mayor's Office of Media. She was an Executive Assistant Corporation Counsel of the City of New York. She ran the census for New York City. So Julie, Madam Speaker, we're delighted that you're the Speaker. The Council has enormous powers, and the concern we have in the new administration is what can the Council do to make sure that we protect and defend the City of New York in the next 4 years?
Well, first of all, John and Judge, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to speak with you. I'm very excited to be elected by my colleagues the other day as the new Speaker of the City Council, and we have a tremendous opportunity, and I would argue attendant obligation, in terms of moving New York City forward. I have, Judge, as you said, run 3 city agencies as Commissioner. I believe that we need to do a very proactive vision for the City Council. The City Council has largely, in recent years, been reactive, meaning we react in terms of the budget, do a restorative budget. We react in terms of land use projects as opposed to putting out our own proactive vision. So I'm very excited about the next 4 years and what we can do. And first of all, in terms of the powers of the City Council, which is what you were asking about, it's a number of things. The Council is a co-equal independent branch of government. So we obviously have our legislative power. We have our oversight power to have oversight hearings to make sure that city agencies are running in the proper way and delivering services for New Yorkers. We have our budget powers where we negotiate the budget with the mayor, and of course our land use powers. And so it's basically utilizing all of those tools in our toolbox.
And you can also override a mayoral veto on your legislation.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. That's something that's part of the legislative process, and absolutely we have the power to do that.
Now, we don't know. Look, I did not vote for the mayor, but I want to give him an opportunity to succeed because we all love New York. But there are certain people that are concerned. The real estate industry is very concerned. The religious people are very concerned, especially the Jewish community. What do you tell the real estate community? Should they be concerned?
Well, first of all, I believe that we are going to move New York City forward. I can speak about some of the work that we are going to do to create jobs, for example. As you mentioned in the introduction, I've formerly served as Commissioner of Media and Entertainment, where I was proud to preside over that agency and brought film and TV production to the highest levels we've ever had, which is a $9 billion industry for our city. We need to make sure that the legislation the council is passing helps to keep businesses here, helps to attract new businesses. And so that's something that we will be obviously very focused on, because we know that by growing our revenue for the city of New York, it allows us to build new schools and build new parks and build more affordable housing and all the different things and the social service programs, all of the programs that we need to move New York City forward. So that's something that I'm very excited about. And then, I am going to be the first Jewish speaker. There has never been a Jewish speaker elected, and so I am the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. It was a very historic moment. And so we will have the first Muslim mayor and the first Jewish speaker. And I think that in and of itself is historic. This is a time for communities across the city to come together. For the Jewish community, the rise in anti-Semitism is absolutely abhorrent. I launched a program about a year ago where we are bringing every public school 8th grade student in New York City to the Museum of Jewish Heritage, to the permanent Holocaust exhibition, because research shows that for young people, 34% of young people believe the Holocaust is a myth or has been exaggerated. And that is just such a shocking statistic that when I learned that, I felt, well, one of the best ways that we can eradicate that is through education. And so there's a lot that
Yes, go ahead.
There's a lot that the council can do on this issue. We are going to be introducing several bills. One bill which creates a safe perimeter around houses of worship, so that, of course, the First Amendment right to peacefully protest is sacrosanct, but that right has limitations. And so we want to make sure that for any house of worship, people can enter and exit freely. And so that what happened at Park East Synagogue, we want to make sure that that never happens again. So we're going to do a bill on that. We're also going to do a similar bill that protects a safe perimeter around schools so that students can make sure that they can go to their classes. And so again, for any protests, there are reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, and they must be observed.
What I'm concerned about, too, because I have several companies in New York, is exodus of losing more people. What would you tell the people that are considering moving? Give the new mayor a chance? Give the new city council a chance?
Absolutely. Give city government a chance. We don't want anyone leaving our great city. We live in the greatest city in the world, and it is our job in city government, and it is my job as the Speaker of the City Council to improve New York City to the best of our abilities. We are going to ensure that the city agencies are functioning at the highest levels. We are going to make sure that we're focused on public safety and sanitation. We're going to focus on building more affordable housing because the city has become unaffordable for so many people. And we're going to focus on small businesses, on cutting onerous fines for small businesses. I'm a former small business owner. The fines that were being assessed by so many of these agencies are unacceptable. When I served as Commissioner of Consumer Affairs, I launched 25 reforms that slashed fines on small businesses and gave businesses 30 days to cure the violation as long as it wasn't a safety violation. So we need to create a better environment for those businesses as well. So we're going to do slash of fines across many different agencies and make sure that we are supporting our small businesses all across New York City.
Madam Speaker, thank you for coming on this Thursday night, and let's have more discussions in the near future. And I pray for our city. I love our city, and we'll do anything possible to help you with our city. And WABC is dedicated to making New York City the greatest city in the world.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, now calling in, we have our Chairman, Jim Jordan, from the Judiciary Committee, and so many things are happening. Mr. Chairman, tell us what the heck is going on in Minnesota. I can't believe this can happen in the United States of America.
Yeah, if you're focused, there's all kinds of things going on in Minnesota. I assume you're focused on the fraud issue first. That Pete was just talking about. But yeah, think about it. They were ripping off, I counted 6 different federal agencies, your tax dollars going from these federal agencies. It was Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, Small Business Administration, Health and Human Services. It was Housing and Urban Development, all these various agencies where they were ripping off. And the program I focused on yesterday's hearing was this Feeding Our Future, this program that was designed to give meals to children, when in fact they were just putting the money in their pocket. No kids were actually getting fed. Just the worst kind of rip-off fraud, the most basic kind of fraud you could see. And there was even and it seemed to be driven by not just the fact that the people in the administration overlooked it, but that they actually kind of assisted it, enabled it, and maybe in some ways even helped it happen. And they did that because they were afraid of the racism charge. And there was a situation where they had shut down Minnesota Department of Education shut down this program because they saw all kinds of concerns. And then 30 days later, they resumed payments. And I asked the members of the Minnesota legislature who were there at our committee hearing yesterday, I said, why would they do that? And they said, well, because they were threatened by this group that if they didn't resume payments, they were going to claim in court that it was racial discrimination. So it's the old race card getting played against, I always say the left has a template. The left will tell a lie. In this case, the lie was we're actually feeding kids with your tax dollars when they weren't. So the left will tell a lie. Big media will report the lie. When you tell the truth, they call you racist. And that's exactly what happened up there. And I think to add even to it more is some of the key people like the Attorney General met with the leaders of this Feeding Our Future program. And 2 weeks after that meeting, he starts getting contributions to his campaign from these individuals. So This is just the worst kind of fraud, and God bless the Department of Justice who's digging into it and actually going to appoint someone who's specifically going to focus on fraud around the country.
Mr. Chairman, it's Judge Richard Warnberg. Good to talk to you again, sir.
You bet.
So let me switch gears. We had this terrible shooting in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and my concern is this is being used as a political football to by the radical left and what I call people who really don't love America to try to divide this country. The question is, and I say this as a former prosecutor and as a judge, this was a reasonable response on the part, from what I've seen in the clips, a reasonable response on the part of the ICE agent. Yeah. This is a dangerous instrumentality. It could have killed him or other people. She was blocking. She wasn't adhering to lawful orders. She was obstructing. And yet they're trying to say that this is something that should drive ICE out of the city of Minneapolis. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it sure appears to me the same way, Judge, that here you have an agent trying to defend himself and his colleagues. And I think you got to step back and think about the environment the left has created in these sanctuary jurisdictions. I mean, ICE agents have been doxxed, they've been tracked, they've been harassed, they've had all kinds of interference when they're trying to do their job. When they send a detainer to the local jail in some of these sanctuary jurisdictions or to a judge, that they won't hold the person who's in for some other offense. They're here illegally. They want to come pick them up and they'll release them to the street. Remember the situation in Milwaukee. The good guys are coming in the front door to arrest the bad guy, and the judge lets the bad guy out the back door.
Absolutely reprehensible, and she's paying the price for that. And he was just following the orders and the protocols of the agency. He wasn't doing anything untoward. This is what he's supposed to be doing. His obligation is to protect himself and to defend his colleagues against an attack by a dangerous instrumentality. You know, you're hit by a 4,500-pound car, that can kill you or cripple you for life.
Yeah, I say all this all the time, and I know we've talked about on you guys' show before as well. You know, the divide in the country, as Sarah Huckabee Sanders said before, is between the real divide is between normal and crazy, and the left always takes the crazy position. And the crazy position is we're going to defund the police. The crazy position is we're going to make it difficult for ICE to do their job. We're going to create sanctuary jurisdictions, sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. The crazy position is we're going to let men compete against women in sports. The crazy position is we're not going to have a border. The crazy position is we're not going to require photo ID to vote. I mean, every position the left takes makes no sense to people with good common sense. But that is today's left. So much so that there in your city, you now have a mayor who said the day he was sworn in as the mayor, we're going to get rid of rugged individualism. We're going to replace it with collectivism, with communism. That is crazy as well. But that, unfortunately, is where we're at with today's left.
Well, Jim Jordan, thank you for calling in today. And I look forward to talking again real soon. Our country has a lot of problems that we have to solve before the midterms.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did a great job. Thanks, guys.
Let's take a break, and when we come back from the break, we have a lot more things for you.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
California, here I come, right back where I started from.
Well, with us today is Steve Garvey. Well, a U.S. Senate candidate previously, and also one of the greatest baseball players ever. Well, Steve Garvey, there's a lot of controversy going on in California. What the heck is going on out there?
Hey, John. Happy New Year to you. Is Rita there?
Rita is someplace. She's on vacation this week. And, she's probably listening to the show, so say hello to Rita.
An undisclosed location.
Undisclosed, warm location.
Hopefully she's in Palm Springs in our area here. It's a balmy 65, 67, so that's it. But
I think she's in warmer places.
Yeah, probably better than that. I mean, farther south. John, it's nice to hear your voice, and I know we're talking about what happened a year ago in Los Angeles. And one of the great devastations to communities in American history. And And the sad part of it almost mirrors what's happened in this last year that is mirroring our country, and that's a lack of accountability. And a lack of leadership follows it close behind. And these iconic communities, and back east, you may not have heard of Altadena, which is right next to Pasadena, and of course the Rose Bowl and so forth. A good middle class community that's had generational support, good churches, good family values. And then on the other end, you've got right by the ocean, next to Santa Monica, is Pacific Palisades. And both of them were devastated by a fire that, arguably couldn't be controlled. But in the end, it's how it was dealt with by leadership, how there was a deniability by mayors and heads of first responders and so forth. And in essence, and the governor, of course, Governor Newsom, who's, we all know, going to be running for president in 2 years, really doesn't focus on California, but focuses on himself and issues around the country. So it's part of that grab for money and power that leaves the good people of a state like California frustrated. Their histories are gone, their homes, generational homes. The frustration of maybe 20% of the people that filed for permits to rebuild have gotten those. So, this is such a sad state. And Candace and I and our family lived in the Palisades for about 8 years. So we know many of the families that had to just leave the house, couldn't take anything with them because it was a fire that was not going to be contained. It went through the canyons above Malibu and then the west side of LA. And but what could have been was probably the savior of a few thousand homes and lives because of well managed and good leadership.
Well, my son's mother-in-law lives out there, Elizabeth Mazzillo, and she tells me that the last time we had Thanksgiving dinner, 12,000 homes got burnt down, and not that many permits were issued for new homes. How many new permits did you say?
Oh, less than 20%. And and I said this when I was campaigning. California is a state where you wake up in the morning and you look out and it's beautiful and the weather's great and you've got mountains and ocean and lakes and desert. And you go, oh, yeah, I know there's problems, but it'll change. Well, it doesn't change unless people stand up and have a large voice for change. And that's what happened, especially with this fire. And for years, people have been saying, when we do have rain here, which is usually the first few months of the year, we had some in December, it's the ability to catch that rainwater and to put it in the basins for catastrophes, just like the LA fires that happened a year ago. And that didn't happen. Trillions of gallons of water was allowed to run off and not captured. And then a significant basin in the area above Pacific Palisades and Malibu was literally drained for refurbishing without any backup. There were probably a third to maybe 40% of fire equipment that needed to be refurbished to be prepared for a disaster like this. All these things are a failure to have foresight and understanding, and that's what good leaders do. They have the ability to look around the corner, the ability to take, whether it's New York or Long Island or the Palisades or Altadena or Southern California, and say, what if? What if that disaster happens? Are we going to be able to minimize the damage, minimize the loss of lives, be able to have people, especially with their homes, the history of their homes, the children growing up, coming back there for Thanksgivings, like we all have the family come back, or Christmas, and to be able to have them have that as a foundation and legacy of their lives and of their families. And that's just not happening together, probably over 20,000 homes and structures in Southern California.
Wow.
So that's what has to be done now.
So,
and by the way, energy company, SC, Southern California Edison, there's going to be deniability. Insurance companies, there's going to be a deniability. Oh, we're not responsible for this. When this coming year, the premiums are going to increase to $500 billion above normal. So it's the business of life in America and how people can capitalize on disasters that inevitably you weren't going to stop this one, but you could have helped minimize it to the point where maybe half of those homes were saved, half of the people lives were preserved.
Well, Steve Garvey, thank you for calling in today. And I love California. There are great people out there, and we have to save California. And are the California, between me and you, before we take a break, are the California people realizing what the heck is going on? Are they coming to light?
You know, it was always, like in my race, it's 2-to-1 registration in California. So I was saying it's like starting a baseball game 30 runs down, and systematically fighting your way back and making a difference with a loud voice about faith and family and freedom and leadership. And what's happening is, the soul of every area, whether it's New York or California or Chicago, whatever, are the people. And the one thing that hasn't been broken is the soul of the people of Southern California. In realization, they may never go back to their homes again. Think about that. But they do have history. They're going to make a difference. They're going to go to the polls. They're going to vote for people who are going to tell them, you matter, nothing else matters. Every day, our leaders have to get up and do what has to be done for the preservation of the lives of people and the quality of life.
We have to take a hard break, but Steve Garvey, I can talk to you for another hour. Let's talk again real soon. Maybe you should run one more time. You never know. I mean, me and you are the same age, but Donald Trump, a good friend of mine, is older than us, and he ran.
Yeah,
you never know.
Only 2 years. He's 2 years older than us.
Yes, yes. Thank you for calling in, and we have to take a break. And God bless California, and may God help you guys. Thank you so much.
God bless New York.
Let's take a break, and we're going to come back with Ty McCoy, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force during the Reagan administration, and he's got a lot to say. And let's take that break.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now we have the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force, Ty McCoy, a West Pointer, a venture capitalist now, and loves America. And to Ty McCoy, I mean, and you've done it all. Tell us, where do you want to start today?
Well, I'd like to start, John, and remind people that the United States has done this before. I was an intelligence officer for a similar raid in the North Vietnam on November 21st, 1970. I was the intelligence planner in the Pentagon working for the Secretary of Defense to go in and rescue POWs that had been moved down to Hanoi. And that was a daring raid, and one that was successful in the sense that it sent a very strong signal. It humiliated the adversary. It embarrassed them. It scared them. It divided them. It sent a signal that we were getting very serious. They treated our prisoners better. They started behaving better themselves. They began to engage more in interest in negotiations for peace in Vietnam. And I think this raid that's occurred here now is an extension of that American approach. When things are very, very serious, you have to be decisive. You have to take action. And I think that's what the president did. He tried to engage in negotiations, get Maduro to leave, or get the regime to behave, and they wouldn't do it. So in addition to moving away from the detachment that he's been working on to get countries in the southern hemisphere detached from the axis of evil, he's now gone to the axis of evil, and one of their acolytes, the Venezuelan regime, and he's decapitated that regime in the sense that he's taken Maduro to the courts where he belongs to be tried for the crimes that he's committed. That the evidence certainly heavily leans in that direction. And at the same time, he's followed up in a very brilliant way, I think, with the discussion with the regime and the idea of development and helping the country develop. It's a little bit almost like the Marshall Plan after World War II, and like the newly independent states and the Nunn-Lugar program after the fall of the Soviet Union. He's going to use Venezuelan oil, help them market it, help them increase the value of it, and use their rightful money to help them and to help that country and to help the people of that country, and to, in the meantime, use the leverage of that to make that regime behave. So I think it's a brilliant move. It's one that most people wouldn't have thought of. If they had thought of it, they would have been too unwilling or cowardly to undertake it. I think the people that are criticizing it a lot are just mad that it was successful and that they didn't think of it, and they're not getting the credit for it. So I think that the skill power and the willpower that was shown by the United States and led by the president through planning, keeping his options open, secrecy, unity, and follow through have really turned the corner in a major way internationally and helped unify this country. It should be unified more. I think it will be when they see the results of stopping the criminals and the fentanyl and the presence of Cubans and Iranians and Russians and Chinese in Venezuela perpetrating their evil schemes throughout all of the Western Hemisphere. So I think it's a very striking effort, and the men and women who engaged and made the raid and the ones who planned it and kept it secret and kept it undetected, certainly it's a masterful exhibition of what the United States military has done and can do, and certainly we need to support the president on this as he tries to turn around the very despicable behavior of that regime, imprisoning, beating, torturing, expelling many of their own citizens into countries all throughout South America and the world. So I think that's certainly a very powerful message.
Ty McCoy, me and you know each other for 40 years, maybe longer. The president talked about new weapons at our disposal and we wiped out the defenses of the Chinese and the Russians, that what they gave Venezuela. Anything you could talk about without giving away anything?
Well, I think that we have always tried to prepare a full spectrum of attack, and we have many cases on the weapons that we have and the frequencies and the capabilities we have. We have some that are held as secret, that are only to be used in wartime, and so there is always the situation when you do something like this that you do have to expose some of what you are capable of. You have to show some of your capability. And of course, the adversaries go to school on that. They learn from what you've done. And in this case, they've learned a little bit. Some of what they learned is good, and that they're frightened and they're concerned and they're worried, and they may be going to behave a little bit better. But at the same time, we have to preserve, and we did preserve, many of the secrets of how we operate, how we turn off the lights, as they say, in Caracas. We did that in a number of other countries. We can do that with our F-18 Growler aircraft that can suppress and take out power plants and take out cyber. And we have weapons that have stealth capabilities that can fly in and can observe and do reconnaissance. And we have agencies that, of course, can penetrate on the ground, such as the CIA, and obtain information and knowledge. It was very critical and very key to allowing this military support of law enforcement to apprehend a man who is rumored to have been managing and supporting the cartel of the Suns. That was moving as much as maybe $1 trillion or more of people, drugs, and other items throughout the Western Hemisphere, and money being handed out and handing around to all of our adversaries, as well as a bunch of criminals. So we have a number of things that we continue to hide from adversaries that we can use if we have to go and defend other countries and also defend ourselves. And we're working on new ones all the time. When I was in the Air Force, that was when we developed secretly the stealth bomber that was used in Iran, the B-2.
Someday I'm going to ask you how far that SR-72 really goes, how fast it goes. But
it can go pretty fast. The higher it gets, the faster.
We got to take a break, and we have to continue this conversation. And thank you so much, Ty McCoy, for coming on. And we're going to continue this conversation again real soon, maybe the weekend. And well, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done for America.
Thank you, John. God bless you.
Let's take that break. What? We're good to the end of the show? No, not another break? Okay, Ty, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. The control room says we're good for another couple minutes.
So, Ty, tell me, what's the impact of what was done militarily in Venezuela and cutting off the shipment of oil to Cuba? What impacts that could have on Cuba?
Well, it's going to have an extraordinary impact. They're going to have to start to conserve oil. They're going to have to ration their reserves of oil. They're going to, of course, be trying to figure out every way they can to get oil and other hydrocarbons in there to power their economy. But it's going to really start to hurt their economy and certainly would hurt their military in terms of its ability to deploy and fight. So I think it's a great bit of leverage to have over a very ruthless regime that for many, many years has tortured their citizens. They all live in poverty, and they have no rights, and they have no ability to have a legitimate democratic government there, and they've exported that, and they were very clever in supporting Hugo Chavez, the Chavismo movement in Venezuela. In effect, the Cubans were finally successful in exporting their revolution. Really not their revolution as much as their dictatorship.
Well, they were supposed to be protecting Noriega, and that didn't turn out too well for the Cubans in Venezuela. They were supposed to be protecting them, did it?
No, it didn't. And it was amazing that they were able to get enough information and intelligence to get in there and get past what was everyone thought was a very highly trained and capable a bodyguard force of Cubans and maybe others that have both, surveillance and knowledge and are supposed to be looking out for the very kind of raid that was able to be accomplished. So I think it sends a great signal that, the people in the free world are not all just sitting back without any capability, and that there are people that are trained and ready and willing to fight and to defend democracy and bring democracy and prosperity to other people like we have so many times in the history of the United States.
And congratulations on your son. I hear he has a very high position in the administration.
He does. We're very happy he's working for the president, and he's very excited to contribute in his role there, and we're very proud of him.
Like father, can I say it? Like father, like son.
Well, he's a smarter one, but he still talks to me.
Ty, and everybody in the studio, what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way.
God bless America. Thank you, Ty McCoy, for everything you've done for America. And we'll talk to you again real soon.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, everybody knows the FBI music, and we have some breaking news from the FBI. And to break it is our own FBI, former FBI Assistant Director in charge of New York for 4 years, George Venizelos. Tell us the breaking news.
Well, it was a big personnel change today in the FBI, major. The FBI filled Don Bongino's job as a deputy director by assistant director in charge of New York. Chris Rayer is going to be going down to Washington on Monday. It's a a loss for New York because Chris is a tremendous leader. I got to know him personally, and he's a tremendous person. But it's good for the FBI because I always felt that deputy director job should be a career FBI person, not somebody. The director is always appointed. The deputy traditionally is a career person. So it's a good step. I commend the director. He picked a great guy, and I always felt that the assistant director in New York should always be considered and moved into that deputy director job. So they finally did it after many years of not doing it. So this is a good day for the FBI in general, but it's kind of a sad day for New York because he was great here. He was loved, and he did a tremendous job here in New York.
And you got him to know very well, and he spoke at the Federal Law Enforcement Foundation,
right?
Which you run on a day-to-day basis, and that's good news. It's one of your own.
Yeah, it's one of and the FBI. I'll tell you, in 2026 is going to be a big year for the FBI with everything that's going on with the violent crimes in the cities. They're going to be setting up these task forces with this Medicare fraud in Minneapolis. They're going to set up these strike forces around the country that the FBI would probably lead. And then now what's happening here in Minneapolis, the shooting, unfortunately for the FBI, that they're investigating it. And it's going to be a major undertaking for them in a tragic situation that is not good for the country. It's actually divided the country even more. It's sad.
And, well, thank you, George. And, by the way, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Rita's not here, but she will be back on Monday. And Rita's someplace in some warm weather, and I wish we were there with her. I mean, but again, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. In the studio with us, we have Judge Richard Weinberg. We have New York State Chairman GOP of Ed Cox, and the former governor of the state of New York, David Paterson. Guys, what's going on?
Where do you want to begin?
Well, President Trump had a big oil meeting with all the oil executives except me.
Well, you had a show to do, John.
I had a show to do. I had to finish doing the Sunday show. And I understand they got some good results. Larry Kudlow's coming on in a little while. And Larry Kudlow will tell us about the meeting he had. And we also... what else happened today?
Listen, there's going to be a forthcoming meeting between the lady who won the Nobel Prize, the Venezuelan lady who won the election, and Maduro stole it from her. That's going to be coming up. That's a very, very big meeting. There's talk about what's going on in Greenland. Those negotiations are being handled by Secretary of State Rubio. Greenland is a very, very important place in terms of resources and access to the waterways. That's a fight that has to be won for America.
The water in between Greenland and Canada, maybe we should call it the Gulf of North Atlantic. How's that sound? Or North America.
I think what we should do is have an amicable, friendly relationship with the nice people of Greenland, Denmark, and Norway, work out a deal, put in military bases.
All 12 of them?
Yeah. Doesn't matter. We want that place. We're not going to take it over.
Governor Patterson is raising his hand. Governor.
Your Honor.
Yes, Governor.
My question is, why can't we work out a relationship with Greenland without threatening to take it over? I mean, in other words...
Exactly right.
Well, there's about 12 people living there, and we're going to send 24 to take it over.
We should not be taking it over. We should have an honorable, honest, respectful relationship.
It's a better deal than Alaska. They called Alaska Seward's Folly.
That's correct.
So let them call it Trump Folly.
That's fine. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they pay for it. But let's do it respectfully because these people are our allies. They're not our enemies.
Your Honor, I want to look that up. I always thought it was called Seward's Icebox because it was so cold. But everybody now says it was Seward's Folly.
Well, you know how much oil is up there? Yeah. You know how much minerals Greenland has? Ed Cox. I mean...
Yeah, I know. They got a lot of oil. They got a pipeline that's only half full because Biden put the kibosh on any more drilling in Alaska. We can get a lot more oil and gas out of Alaska, minerals out of Greenland.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, we have with us Senator Kramer from the great state of North Dakota, is it? Do we have any music for that? Well, how is North Dakota?
Well, North Dakota is great, but that song was written a long time ago and recorded by the NDSU choir, and they should have added oil to the cattle in the wheat.
Excellent.
Give us a report from the Midwest. I mean, is North Dakota the only honest state over there? I mean, what's going on in Minneapolis?
Well, isn't that the truth? Thanks for bringing that up, John. I mean, the people of Minnesota and North and South Dakota, Iowa, the upper Midwest region are all very, very similar. They're nice people. But as of late, Minnesota has really slipped, to say the least. And it's been, the last few decades. The mistake Minnesota made a long time ago was it turned itself into a welfare state. In fact, they opened their arms widely and their pocketbooks generously. And when I say theirs, I mean the taxpayers. And they became a magnet for lots of unproductive folks. And so now they're reaping the consequences of that, I believe. And of course, Tim Walz, when he became governor, he put all that on steroids, and is overseeing this huge fraud situation in Minnesota that he and Keith Ellison and other leaders have facilitated, and as well as welcoming a lot of the illegal immigration, and now they're unfortunately reaping what they've sown, and we just see now a very desperate governor who, basically was forced to not be able to run for re-election again, and he's lashing out in outlandish, weird ways, and he's fueling the flames of hate and bigotry in his own state, and it's hard to watch from next door.
Now, I guess the overall budget of the United States is, well, with the overdraft, is $7 trillion, and Elon Musk said that he believes that 10% could be eliminated just from eliminating fraud. Well, you think Elon is pretty right?
I don't think he's that far off. I really don't, John. And the sooner we get a handle on it, the better. And this is what's fueling so much dissension right now, is that for way too long, the federal government has, looked the other way. In some cases, it really facilitated fraud by having so little enforcement over people who perpetrate fraud against the federal government. I mean, it's somebody else's money after all. And so, just this sort of lackadaisical attitude that has led to this entitlement mentality. And by the way, even the legal generosity has become a perverse incentive for people to not work. When you can make more than $60,000 a year solely on benefits when you game the entire system, I think Elon's probably right. And I think what you're going to find, and remember, in the one big beautiful bill that we now call the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, one of the things that the left screamed the loudest about in that bill were the parameters we put on things like the nutrition programs, like work requirements, more regular qualifications for people. Same with Medicaid. They screamed about that. We're cutting people's benefits. No, we're just simply checking in with these people on benefits more often to make sure that they're actually entitled to them. And there are some other things we can be doing that don't punish people for success either. I mean, there's a lot of perverse incentives built into bureaucracy, but it's time to get a handle on all of this. We can't afford it, first of all, and second of all, we're destroying the country with it.
The one thing that came out this week that really bothered me, Senator, is when we see that Dr. Oz or the FDA exposed it, that they were giving children 73, 78 vaccines because the insurance companies wanted to get paid year 1 and 2 instead of waiting till they're 8 years old. And it was hurting the kids.
That's a really great point. I didn't see that coming out of that, but I would agree that it is outlandish because you're right. I think the insurance companies, speaking of perverse incentives, and this is what this whole ACA premium tax credit, the Biden tax credit that's been the subject of all of this debate over whether we should continue that or not. That really facilitated even more of that, because it gives a lot of money to the insurance companies. In fact, the insurance companies, from that premium support, which 6 million Americans, by the way, have taken advantage of without even knowing that they did, because the insurance companies were incentivized to sign up more people for this free program, throwing a whole bunch of money at their health insurance. And by the way, the insurance companies are entitled to 20% of whatever the subsidy is right off the top. In other words, they have every incentive in the world to do the wrong thing and no incentive in the world to do the right thing. And now when people are looking at, who become dependent on that aid, they're looking at the expiration of it. They're understandably up in arms, but we can't continue this. We have to put parameters around these programs.
Yeah, George Venizelos, a former FBI assistant director.
Yeah, and this is a time where the FBI and the other federal agencies have to step up and really make some examples of what's going on here. Otherwise, you'll never stop it. There's no deterrent to stop this. And I unfortunately, I feel the Minneapolis thing is the tip of the iceberg. You start hitting all the other states like California, the other states, it's probably running rampant. So they need to set up task force in all these big areas where they feel that there's fraud, and start making examples and start arresting people. So, Senator, I can't agree with you more. I mean, this is a big problem that needs to be exposed and needs to be for what it is. It's a scam.
And George, I understand there's an assistant director now for fraud. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
So what do you think of that?
The Attorney General office, which is a great move.
That. Yeah, very good move, right?
Yeah.
Because every governor, every state, welfare director, whatever their agencies might be, for that matter, every state's Department of Transportation and all this, they need to know that there's a watchdog now on the beat. There's a cop on the beat, and you're right. There needs to be some prosecutions. And one of the things, my great frustrations over the years has been that a lot of times, even when you have an enforcement mechanism, the bureaucrat is reluctant to do it because they only want to prosecute a sure deal, right? And I just think you've got to make examples out of fraudsters, and you got to at least bring them on. I worry that, frankly, that Tim Walz and Keith Ellison and the rest of Minnesota are going to skate on this thing. As embarrassing as it is, and yes, it has forced Tim Walz to not run for re-election, and his political career is over for sure. It wasn't bad enough that he embarrassed the worst presidential campaign in the world by being worse than the first nominee, but he's paid a price, but I worry that he's not going to be held criminally liable, but some people have to be. You're exactly right.
I totally agree with you. Even his daughter said that there's some merit to this fraud.
His own daughter said,
"Yeah." So we have to make examples. It's important.
That's right.
Judge Weinberg,
good to talk to you again, Senator. Part of the problem was you don't have real enforcement and you don't have real oversight. You don't have audits about the money coming in, just a slush fund. And then when the people in the state try to report it to Ellison, the Attorney General, and to the governor, not only did they cover it up, but they went after the whistleblowers. So if that's not on the tip of aiding and abetting, Senator, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. Exactly right. The code is quite clear about it, but we've always been reluctant to do it. In fact, I think that's much of what you're seeing across the country with the idea of these watchdog groups and these professional protesters that are really professionally trained rioters. There hasn't been enough of a consequence for their behavior that they just stretch it a little further each time, and pretty soon, you have bloodshed, and it's a natural outcome, and we've got to get our arms wrapped around it.
Also, it's really important that you have Department of Justice. The prosecutors are key to this process.
Yes.
You can investigate all you want, find all the evidence you want, but if they're not going to get prosecuted, it's for naught. So that's why I think this appointment of this new position is key in Department of Justice so they can prosecute these cases.
Well, nobody knows that better than you guys in New York.
Yep.
Gotta have it.
Say that again.
And, but now it's happening right here in the middle of America, in the heartland. Yeah. And I hope it's not too late, you guys. To be honest with you, I hope it's not too late to change the trajectory of all of this.
Totally.
And by the way, it's national, right? It's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and how rich is that? And this is the other thing that really drives me crazy. When did the cops stop getting the benefit of the doubt not just from the public, but from public officials. Well, probably because of the public officials, when they're fanning the flames and jumping to conclusions that are consequential to the police officer. Of course, you're going to you're going to enrage the public, and it really is time to change all.
Yeah,
of that.
and that scares me now with this shooting, this unfortunate shooting. It gives them, it's like a George Floyd too. It gives them reasons to start protesting and start demonizing the federal
and then, of course, the media has a bias. About 70% or 80% of the media tilts that way. So they have a one-sided narrative. They're not looking for the truth. What they're looking for is to spin their narrative.
Yeah.
They sure are, and they're helping spin it with their awful headlines, with their choice of quotations, all of it. You're exactly right, John, and it's frightening. That's why it's time for good people to step up. I mean, I can tell you one thing. What's happened to downtown Minneapolis, for those of us who grew up next door, is a tragedy in and of itself. A beautiful city at one point, a vibrant city. Ever since the George Floyd situation and the pandemic and Minnesota's poor handling of that, I mean, downtown Minneapolis has been dead for about 6 years.
Sad.
And it's an awful thing to watch.
Yeah, very sad. It was a beautiful downtown, actually.
Well, Senator Kramer, I want you to have a great weekend and pray for our country and fight hard for our country. And thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Senator.
It's always a pleasure, John. Thank you so
and
much.
North Dakota, where's that North Dakota music? I love that music. Well, have a good weekend, Senator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, with us today is Larry Kudlow, and Kudlow, the number one economist in the country. And Larry, we almost have a 50,000 Dow. It's only 49.5 right now.
You know, it's so interesting. The economy is growing at 5% or better. Okay, 5% or better. The Atlanta Fed GDP now tracker is at 5.1 for the fourth quarter. And the really cool part about this is that while the economy is booming, the inflation rate, because of oil and gasoline, is coming down. Coming down. You're going to have high growth, low inflation. Stock market loves it. You're right. I think the Dow was up about 1,200 points for the week. And this is something the economics profession completely missed. Completely missed this. Yours truly, booming. I've been talking about this for weeks. It's a boom. I mean, it could go to 6 or 7% growth. And the cool part about it is the inflation rate is going to come down. People say growth causes high inflation. They're completely wrong. This is supply side growth. This is a positive oil shock that's going to help consumers and business, gasoline prices, hundreds of prices coming down because of petroleum. And Trump is making the Western Hemisphere safe from our enemies, Russia and China. It's just one hell of a story. Nobody could have imagined this story, but that's what's happening. It's a wonderful thing.
Larry Kudlow, how did the oil meeting at the White House go today?
It's still going on, John, and I don't know what the details are. A lot of it was live. You know, you know this as well as anybody. You're talking about basically in Argentina, in Venezuela. You're talking about Chevron, Exxon, and Conoco have been out of there for years. And Chevron will make, commitments to rebuild infrastructure and try to produce. They can. I spoke to the CEO, Mike Wirth, who was not there because he's having a knee replacement, but they can probably squeeze out a couple 100,000 additional barrels in the next year or so. But the thing is, all these oil companies, they want to help Trump, and they want to come into Venezuela and, clean that story up. But they're worried about the government. They're worried about the rule of law. They're worried about contracts, because they've been burned in the past, right? Chavez took all their assets. He nationalized all their assets.
And nobody did anything about it.
That's right.
Who was president at that time, Larry? That's 20 years ago or 20?
It was at the end of the Clinton era, that Chavez came to power. And I don't know exactly when the nationalization took place. But that's, when you talk, and a lot of that came up in the discussions today. But the thing is very clear. Trump said, look, every drop of oil coming out of Venezuela is now being run by the United States. And all the disbursements from the sale of oil is being run by the United States. And Venezuela will be purchasing the vast majority of its goods and services from the United States. So this is an incredible story. And we will see, you've got these communists running the government. Rodriguez, the woman, and her brother runs the National Assembly. So far, they've been behaving themselves, but who knows? We don't know. You got generals and colonels and chavistas, as they call them. No one really knows how this story is going to play out. So all I know is the markets are booming. You're right. We're going to 50,000. We are growing because of good economic policies, and the inflation rate is going to come down. It's a beautiful supply side bullish story. Very bullish.
And 60,000, my opinion, 60,000 December 31, 2026.
Wow.
If you want 60, John, you can have 60.
Okay. Load up your 401k plan. Larry Kudlow, what are you going to be talking about tomorrow? Number one show on Sunday mornings between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Larry Kudlow. You can get it at WABCRadio.com, 178 countries, and LarryKudlow.com.
Yes, LarryKudlow.com. We're going to be talking about this. And by the way, the jobs report today wasn't bad. Unemployment came down, 230,000 household jobs. Wages are rising faster than inflation. It's just all good. It's like all good. Don't read the newspapers. Just listen to me. It's all good.
Where's Happy Days?
Happy.
We took that from the Democratic Party.
We deserve it. The Democrats had a very bad week. That's their problem. They had a bad week in Minneapolis. They had a bad week.
All right, let's hear it. Hold on.
Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. Let us sing the song of cheer again.
It's good to hear some music once in a while.
Yes, good music. Good music. Anyway.
Larry, I'll be listening tomorrow. I'll be listening tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock on WABCRadio.com and worldwide on your iPhone 77 WABC. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
And now, who do we have? Is Todd Lyons calling in? With us today is Todd Lyons, and he is the acting director of the United States Immigration and Customs Service, and so many things are going on. Well, Todd Lyons, Mr. Director, what the heck is going on? Tell me what's going on.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, first of all, and happy Friday, and happy National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Yeah, so all over the country right now, there's a lot of protests and bad feelings toward immigration and customs enforcement. We did have that shooting, unfortunate situation up there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But ICE is still conducting their law enforcement mission. We are still out there in all 50 states. We're on the ground. We're out there trying to get the worst of the worst, trying to get these individuals that haven't left the country after a lawful deportation order was issued by a federal judge. So we're still out there strong, and we're still going after the worst of the worst.
And what happened in Minneapolis? I mean, how much backlash is there?
Oh, the backlash, it's tremendous, and it's downright horrible. Our folks on the ground, we have to send out more security now than ever. Our federal building has more special response teams, more SWAT teams up there just to deal with the protesters coming in and out. We try to block our vehicles every day. Federal courthouse, the night of the shooting, was surrounded, had the windows knocked out. So it's bad. You know, they've taken to the street, and the political rhetoric is just as strong, if not worse, as ever. People have already made up their minds about this situation. And again, you know, our hearts and minds and thoughts go out to everyone involved in this situation. But anytime civilians get involved in a lawful law enforcement action, whether it be NYPD stopping somebody for a consensual contact or a trooper on the side of the road on a traffic stop, no one needs to interject in a law enforcement mission. And unfortunately, that keeps happening day in, day out.
Judge?
Director, good to talk to you again, sir. I'll tell you what troubles me. It all started with the open border policies of the Biden administration. They didn't enforce the immigration laws. They did not support protecting and defending our borders. They've caused a crisis. All the Trump administration and law enforcement is trying to do is to go back and make sure that the people who come into this country are vetted, they're law-abiding, and they come in legally. I don't understand making this a political issue when it's really a public safety and the integrity of our country issue.
Right. And if you look at one of our high-profile arrests just the day before the shooting, when Secretary Noem was up there, you know, we arrested an Ecuadorian individual that fled a sexual assault of a minor rape charge out of Connecticut, and he was also wanted for murder in Ecuador. But when he was encountered in 2022 at the southwest border because of the last administration's policies, even though he had that warrant and he also had a conviction for 10 years of strangulation and kidnapping, they let him in. So when someone's fleeing a jurisdiction on a sex charge, why not go to a sanctuary jurisdiction where you can hide in plain sight? That they'll know they'll get sometimes no bond release if they do something else again. And, you know, you would hope that elected officials would thank us for taking that individual out of their communities. I'm sure they don't want them, well, in any sane community, right? But maybe Minneapolis is different.
Well, let's be clear. As a matter of constitutional law, as a matter of statutory law, there is no such thing as a sanctuary city. That in and of itself is a fraud in the public narrative. There are no legitimate sanctuary cities, and we have to put an end to that narrative and that mythology.
Has the Supreme Court voted on that yet?
No, they should. I believe they should take this up, and there should be a declaration. There's no such thing. And if you try to say there is one, you're aiding and abetting a violation of federal law. What think you, Director?
I think you're 100% right. We're looking forward to DOJ coming through with some, you know, big indictments, start holding some people accountable, because that's what they need right now. You know, all too often, you've heard us say we're going to take strong action, but we haven't yet. And what those officers were doing right before that deadly shooting was getting ready to take those individuals into custody. Because if you impede operations and if you stalk officers and stop us from doing our job, we are going to arrest you. Now we finally have enough individuals, enough officers that we can make those arrests. And that's what they were doing that day. We're serious going forward. If you impede or you put hands on officers or agents, you will go to jail.
Well, Todd Lyons, we got a minute left. Anything else you want to tell the people?
No, I just want to say thank you, seriously, for all the support. And thank you to all law enforcement agencies who support us behind the scenes. We know it's tough. We know it's a lot of elected officials that don't let the cops do their job, but the men and women of ICE truly appreciate it. And on National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, we can't say thank you enough. And the brave men and women of ICE that I have the privilege to lead, they're some of the greatest law enforcement out there. So, again, we really appreciate your support. Your show has been great for us to tell our story.
Thank you so much. Todd Lyons, Acting Director of the United States Immigration and Customs, usually called ICE, but thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for protecting the United States of America.
Thank you.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Roger Stone Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, we are back. And with us today, like every Friday at 5:55, we have Joe Concha. And he's he entertains. I mean, Joe, you close out the Friday in such a great way. You make us feel better that it's, what do you have to say today?
Well, I'm like a clown, I mean, I'm funny like a clown. Do I amuse you?
I saw that in the movie.
Oh, I missed that movie.
It's only 36 years old now, if you want to feel like, nice and young. But where do you come down, Cats? Are you more of a Godfather guy or a Goodfellas guy?
Oh my God! I'm go watch my movie and you'll let me know.
Okay, I'll watch your movie. I didn't know you had a movie. I should know you have a movie. What movie is that? Can I get it on?
I play across the pond or across the table from Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme.
Oh wow! Okay,
I'll send you the video.
I'll watch. Very good, but you still haven't told me whether you come down on Goodfellas or Godfather. I will not let you go.
I enjoyed Godfather, and as a matter of fact, I was thinking of Godfather when I played that my part.
Oh, of course. I'm sure it's a big, a big inspiration. I'm sure. Do you like Godfather 2 or 1 better?
I think 1. I think 1 was pretty good. 2 and 3 I hated, but they fixed it a little bit.
That's right. That's right. They did the Michael Corleone coda, and they re-edited it, Joe, and it's now actually a movie that makes sense. Godfather 3.
Yeah, they should have called it Godfather 3, the Search for More Money. I think that would have been like the better title. Because there's no need for it. Absolutely none. And, Brando, I liked 1 just because Brando was just so great. And but then you have De Niro playing young Brando and 2. I don't know. I've gone off on a tangent, haven't I? You want to talk about Minneapolis or something?
What do you want to talk about? You're on tonight at 9 o'clock. You're on Sunday at 11 o'clock. What are you going to talk about?
Well, obviously, guys, and you guys have been tackling it. That body cam, it's not body cam, but the video from the ICE agent showing truly what happened from his perspective. Obviously, he was being taunted by the victim, not victim, the woman who was killed. Her partner was obviously taunting him. Obviously, her car was blocked to impede ICE. And then obviously that ICE agent was hit when she pulled away, sped away, and he had no choice in that situation in terms of the rules of engagement, but to self-defense. And then you hear the stats from DHS saying that vehicle rammings or attempted vehicle rammings are up 3,200% this year alone against ICE. So if that's the memo that's out, that vehicles are being used as deadly weapons against ICE agents, well, what else do you expect this guy to do? And I think this video finally doesn't make this like a one side versus the other, left versus right. No ambiguity. The man was hit. He did what he had to do. It's an unfortunate tragedy, but again, the left narrative has utterly and totally collapsed at this point.
Joe, it's Richard Weinberg again. It just broke that the local DA in Minneapolis, as well as the state attorney general, of course, you can really count on him to do the right thing, Ellison, they're going to have their own independent investigation. That just broke.
So Ellison's going to have his own independent investigation?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Go figure how that's going to turn out.
The guy at the height of the Somali fraud?
Exactly, that guy. That guy.
Oh, man. Well, the FBI is also running an investigation, and I'm sure he'll be totally unbiased. He'll be the Fannie Willis of Minneapolis. So, who could trust him at this point? It's a joke, but I keep hearing like Mamdani, our wonderful mayor, saying that woman was murdered, and Hillary Clinton saying that she was murdered. She wasn't. You never pull away from law enforcement when you get pulled over. You cooperate, you keep your hands on the wheel, and you ask them, officer, what can I do here? Instead, you hit somebody, this is what's going to happen, unfortunately, and this is what the left has to go with at this point. Fear-mongering and hate. They can't run on anything because you saw Trump today. Greenland's next, I guess. Gas is below $1.50 in a lot of states. Wages are up. GDP's expected to go around 6% in the next quarter. The economy is rolling great, and Democrats, this is all they have, are fake protests and lies.
And what are you going to be talking about at 9 o'clock?
Oh, at 9 o'clock. Well,
Monday through Friday, Joe Concha, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock every day. And you're very entertaining. I listened to your show last night.
Did you really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. We just try to. It's such an. I don't want to say easy show to do because you're probably going to take. I'm not going to get a promotion and a raise. I'll probably get like a pay cut. I shouldn't say it's easy, but Democrats make it so easy with all the stupid things they say and do, and just to be able to react to it. That's just the way to go. And we're going to celebrate, by the way, John, the 26th anniversary of Bill Belichick being the coach of the Jets for all of 5 minutes. So we have the sound on that. Talk about Jets like, they haven't won since 1969, haven't been to a Super Bowl since 69. And then Belichick, they had him in 2000, and then he resigns after 5 minutes, goes to the Patriots and wins 6 Super Bowls. That is so Jets. So I think we want to talk about the locals as well. Even it means sports for a little bit. Why
Joe,
not?
you're killing me.
I'm sorry. I'm a Bears fan. We haven't won in 40 years. Trust me, we're no better. But at least we're in the playoffs, so that's a good thing. So we'll have fun. I think that's the bottom line. How about you guys? What are your plans for the weekend? Anything fun?
Well, I'm going to hang around New York and watch the rain come down.
Yeah, it's Seattle almost, right?
We can bet on the raindrops. Guys and dolls.
It could be worse. It could be snow.
It could be. At this time of year, like, I'd rather have snow. It's pretty to look at in Central Park, but rain in January, it's like 40 degrees. No thanks. But hey, you're right. Maybe it does beat snow because then I don't have to shovel it. So that's one way to look at it. Where did Rita go on vacation, by the way? Do we have
someplace warm?
GPS on her?
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location somewhere. I think she could see, though. I think she could see the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. That sounds a lot better than Gulf of Mexico, right?
Absolutely. And what are we going to call the water in between Greenland and Canada? The Gulf of North America?
Between Greenland and Canada. Well, Greenland's not going to be called Greenland anymore, right?
Well, Trumpland.
Mar-a-Lago North? Mar-a-Lago very north? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that place has a population total of 57,000. So basically, like, you could fill Madison Square Garden 3 times with the population of Greenland, and that's it. So I don't think Trump's going to have to use the military here, but it feels like he's going to get a deal done, doesn't it?
I hope so, because you know something? It's great for the future of the Americas.
Yes, security and all those minerals, and again, another place for Rita to go on vacation. So everybody wins.
Now, everybody, make sure you listen to Joe Concha tonight, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. WABC worldwide, 178 countries, 50 states. On your iPhone, 77 WABC. On your computer, WABCradio.com. Well, no matter what country I'm going to go to, I will be listening.
And what do we all stand for?
Truth, justice, and the American way. Away! God bless America.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Roger Stone Show. You can hear The Roger Stone Show Sunday afternoons at 3. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.